right? Number 19. An architect wants to use a riser-trap formula to design a stairway with a total rise of 9 feet, a riser height between 7 and 8 inches, and an odd number of steps. Okay, was the architect's constraint, which of the following must be the tread depth in inches of the stairway? And it's a 1 foot equal 12 inches. Okay. So this question is kind of tricky. Okay, we had to break it down a little bit. So first of all, we're solving for the tread depth, right? So that's the D value. And we know chances are we're going to use the riser tread formula again, right? It's for this set of question. So let's just go ahead and bring up the formula. Okay, so formula is 2h plus d equal to 25. This tells the relationship between h and d. Okay. So what we have here is we're trying to solve for the tread depth, so that's d. Right, so we want to solve for d, we have to know what h is, right? So we know what h is, we can plug into the formula and solve for d. So this is the challenging part, right? We had to figure out what h is, that's the riser height. Okay, what we know here is, we know the total rise should be 9 feet, and the riser height should be between 7 and 8. Okay, we know the riser height is between 7 and 8, but we don't know what exactly it is. And we know it's an odd number of steps. So first of all, if you go back to this picture here, they also talk about this in the paragraph. The total riser height should, if you add up all for each stair, right, the total rise, right, for each individual riser height, we add them up should equal to the total rise. Okay, so here we know the total rise is 9 feet. So we do have to do a unit conversion because everything else is in inches. Okay, so at 9 feet, let's do a conversion first. Okay, so 9 feet is how many inches? It's a 1 foot is 12 inches. So 9 feet is 9 times 12, which is 108 inches. Okay, so this is the total rise. Right, so each individual steps, right, if we add them all together, had to add up to 108 inches. Right. The riser height, if you add each one up, it had to be 108. All right. But to figure out exactly what's the riser height, right, we had to we can do like a trial and error here. Right, you see the riser height should be between 7 and 8, but we don't know exactly what it is. Right, and we have an odd number of steps. Okay, so the number of stairs that we have had to be an odd number. Okay, so what we can do is we can take the total rise, which is 108 inches. That's the total height. And we can do some trial and error. We can divide by some odd number and see if we get a number between 7 and 8, then that will be our answer. Right, that will be the number of steps. And then, right, and then that will be, and from that we can actually solve for the exact h value as well. Okay. So let's just say what if we have an odd number, right? Let's just say we have 11. How about that? Right, so let's just give it a try. Now it might not work, but let's just give it a try. We do 108 divided by 11. That's an odd number. Right, so if you have 11 steps, then each stair, the height will be 108 divided by 11. We can do it in the calculator. We got 9.8. Okay, about 9.8. Well, would that work? No, right? It had to be between 7 and 8, so 9.8 is a little bit too big. Okay. Let's see, we want to make it even smaller, so we have to divide by a bigger number. So the next bigger odd number will be 13. Okay, so let's try 108 divided by 13. Get 8.3-ish. Right, it's just a little bit outside the range here, right? It had to be between 7 and 8. So let's try another one. How about 15? Okay, if you have 15 steps, 108 divided by 15, we have 7.2. Okay, we have 7.2, so that will be between 7 and 8, right? So that works. Okay, so we know we should have 15 steps. Right? 15 steps. It's an odd number step, and then we get 7.2. That will be the height for each stair, and that's the riser height, so which will be the h value. Okay, so by doing 15 steps, we get h is 7.2, so that satisfies all the constraints. Okay, so then h is 7.2. So this is really tricky, but this is how we can figure out the h value. Okay, so h is 7.2. So now we can plug into the formula and solve for d. Okay, so it'll be 2 times 7.2 plus d equals 25. And solve this. 2 times 7.2 is 14.4 plus d equals 25. And lastly, solve for d, we do minus 14.4 on both sides. Okay, so d is equal to 25 minus 14.4. And that should give us the final answer for d, which is equal to 10.6. And that will be the final answer, which is letter C for this question here. Okay, so this question is really tricky. We don't have a lot of questions like this. Okay, but for this one, this is the thought process to get to the final answer.